Well, we're looking ahead to the UK budget on Wednesday. Justine's here from KPMG. It's going to be more the same, isn't it? More hammering of the offshores as far as we're concerned here on the Isle of Man. They all seem to be making their points now, all the different parties. But is there anything likely to be in the actual budget, do you think?
Well, I think personal tax and corporate tax avoidance has always been high on the agenda for recent budgets, and I see no reason for that to change for this budget, whether that's new UK rules or just greater enforcement of current UK rules. We've seen a recent consultation document in which the HMRC are considering the introduction of a 3-year minimum claim period for UK resident non-domiciled individuals claiming the remittance basis assessment.
You have to bring this down into non-technical. Who will this affect? How will it affect?
Okay, well, basically, currently, UK resident non-domiciled individuals have to claim to be taxed on the remittance basis assessment, which basically means that they will be taxed on UK source income, but only foreign income to the extent that it is actually brought or enjoyed in the UK. Also, long-term residents have to pay a remittance basis charge of £30,000. So if you've been resident in the UK for seven out of the last 9 tax years, you have to pay £30,000 in order to benefit from this special tax regime. Since April 2012, they've increased this charge to £50,000. And that's going to be further increased to £60,000 from 6th April 2015. And then they're also introducing a sort of supercharge of £90,000 for UK residents who have been resident in the UK for 17 out of 20 years. So they've already introduced quite sort of heinous charges for non-domiciled individuals. And now, on the back of all of that, they're also wanting to introduce this 3-year minimum claim period, which basically means that the individual in question will have to tie in to 3 years and pay that charge for 3 years. So you could look at a non-domiciled individual who's been resident for 17 out of 20 years effectively having to pay £270,000 just to benefit from this special tax regime.
So this is putting off people living here and working in the UK? Is that
it's basically putting off wealthy individuals who effectively move to the UK, maintain their foreign domicile. And it seems ridiculous because they already contribute significant amounts to the economy, and the tax that they pay, because of these charges, is already considerably more than the average UK taxpayer.
So it's there, is it? I mean, or just the thought it might be there?
Yeah, I mean, this is a consultation document, so it's unlikely to have any sort of dramatic changes in the budget, it sort of ties in with the whole anti-avoidance theme, I guess, and has probably no direct relevance, I guess, to Isle of Man residents, unless, of course, they're considering moving to the UK and maintaining their Isle of Man domicile status. But it is an additional cost that Isle of Man or any sort of foreign domiciled individual will have to consider if they want to move to the UK.
You must always have to keep your eyes on all these things now, don't you? I mean, one little change somewhere, it doesn't necessarily come out in the actual budget day itself, does it? It can be just afterwards in the small print. Something like this can really be a game changer for a lot of people.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
So after this, the election, and they're all promising to do more to stop tax avoidance, tax evasion, keeping their taxes low down there. How do you think the Isle of Man's going to come out of this?
I think with international global transparency, obviously with the increased information exchange between countries, there is definitely more focus. I mean, HMRC are going to start receiving more and more information about anyone with overseas assets. So that's going to include Isle of Man, individual or UK residents rather with offshore assets within Isle of Man trust or company structures. So it's going to become even more important for these guys to make sure that their tax affairs are completely up to date and complete. There's going to be, they're going to look at structure. It's not only just the UK residents, but it's also trustees of these offshore structures that need to be aware that their tax affairs are completely up to date. So everything's sort of coming out of the woodwork, and it's just important that people, get all their ducks in a row, really.
And it's your guys with more paperwork by the sounds of it, constantly,
Yeah,
isn't there? More,
yeah,
all that?
you know, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really now a question of, you know, we're sort of helping people sort of review their structures just to make sure that everything is as it should be.